Hi friends, this is your Yoganandam, biology lecturer from Edall Academy YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss another mock test paper from biology full syllabus. Let us discuss a question and answer with detailed solutions. Question number 1. Comparable to angiosperms, which of the following algae exhibits diplontic life cycle? The diplontic life cycle is shown by the developed vascular plants. In plants showing this type of life cycle, the dominant photosynthetic phase is the diploid sporophyte. The haploid phase is represented by the short-lived and one or a few celled called as gametophytes. Example, all gymnosperms, all angiosperm and algae like fucus. So the answer for this question is option D, fucus. Question number 2. Identify the sets of diseases in which A, infectious and B, non-infectious. Pneumonia can spread through airborne droplets from a cough or sneeze, while malaria is transmitted by infected female Anopheles mosquito that carries Plasmodium sporozoites. Cancer is uncontrolled growth of cells and it is non-contagious. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease and is non-infectious. AIDS is an infectious viral disease. HIV can transmitted through blood and also by sexual contact between males and females through vaginal or oral or anal intercourse. So the answer is option C. A, AIDS. It is infectious, non-infectious. Example, rheumatoid arthritis. Question number 3. Among flowers of calotropis, tulip, sesbania, asparagus, colchicine, sweet potato, petunia, indigofera, mustard, soybean, tobacco and groundnut. How many plants have corolla with valvate aestivation? Valvate aestivation is present in the membrane of Brassicaceae, Solanaceae and Liliaceae family. Thus, calotropis, tulip, asparagus, colchicine, petunia, mustard and tobacco have valvate aestivation in corolla, but in Liliaceae, tepals have valvate aestivation. So the answer is option B from 7 flowers. Question number 4. Correct statements regarding malaria. Here there are 4 statements are given. Malaria is caused by the protozoan parasite Plasmodium. Human malaria is caused by 4 different species of Plasmodium. Plasmodium falciparum, Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium ovale and Plasmodium vivax. Plasmodium falciparum is unicellular protozoan parasite of humans and the deadliest species of Plasmodium that causes malignant malaria in humans. Hemozoin is a disposal product formed from the digestion of blood by Plasmodium that brings about chills. In Plasmodium, the sexual stages are produced in the humans, but fertilization takes place in the stomach of mosquito. In hepatocytes, asexual reproduction takes place through schizogony. Sexual stage, that is gametocytes, develops in RBC of humans. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given 4 statements, statement 2 and 4 only correctly given about malaria. Question number 5. The largest tiger reserve in India is? The largest tiger reserve in India is Nagarjuna Sagar. Largest tiger reserve in India is Nagarjuna Sagar, Srisailam, Guntur, Andhra Pradesh is national park which also comes under Project Tiger, initiated in 1972 to protect tigers from extinction. So the answer is option B, Nagarjuna Sagar, Srisailam. Question number 6. The given biomolecule is the part of the defense system which is responsible for dash response with A and B labeled as. Refer the diagrammatic representation. B cells are the lymphocytes that play a large role in humoral immune response as opposed to the cell mediated immune response which is governed by T cells. B cells primarily function to make antibodies while T cells help B cells. Each antibody has 4 peptide chains, 2 small which are light and 2 heavy which are long chains. The antibody recognizes the pathogen called an antigen via variable region which is antigen binding site. So the answer for this question is option B. Humoral immune response 1, antigen binding site is 2, light chain. Question number 7. During meiosis 1, the chromosomes start pairing at. During meiosis 1, pairing of chromosomes starts at zygote. This process of pairing called as synapsis or synthesis in which homologous chromosomes comes close together and forms pair known as bivalent. A proteinaceous network develops between 2 chromosomes of a pair known as synaptonomial chromosome. So the answer for this question is option A, zygote. Question number 8. The common characteristics between tomato and potato will be maximum at the level of their. Tomato is Lycopersicum esculentum and potato is Solanum tuberosum. Both belong to different genus but are the members of same family. Thus, maximum common characters are observed at the level of family. So the answer for this question is option A, family. Question number 9. The first meiotic division during spermatogenesis takes place when? Spermatogenesis is a highly specialized process of cellular differentiation resulting in the formation of functional spermatozoa. Spermatogenesis begins with diploid spermatogonium in the seminiferous tubule which divides mitotically to produce 2 diploid primary spermatocytes. The primary spermatocyte then undergoes meiosis 1 to produce 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes. The haploid secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis 2 to produce 4 haploid spermatids. So the answer for this question is option A. Primary spermatocytes divide to form secondary spermatocytes. Question number 10. The anapase promoting complex is activated by. The cell cycle is controlled by enzymes like cyclin dependent kinases. It is generally called as CDKs. CDKs phosphorylate amino acids like serine and threonine which initiate or block activities related to cell cycle. In eukaryotes, multiple cyclins are present and each of which acts during a specific checkpoint in cell cycle regulation. Common classes of cyclins includes G1-phase cyclins, G1-S-phase cyclins, S-phase cyclins, M-phase cyclins. M-phase cyclins form M-CDK complexes and drive the cell's entry into mitosis and acts on the anapase promoting complex. So the answer for this question is option A, M-CDK cyclin. Question number 11. Which of the following statements regarding fertilization are correct? Here there are 4 statements are given. During fertilization, for the entry of sperm in the ovum, the acrosome breaks it with the help of digestive enzyme present in it. The acrosome contain hyaluronidase and acrosin enzyme which eat up and zona pellucida and allows the haploid nucleus in the sperm to join with the haploid nucleus of the ovum. The outer membrane of the ovum is called as zona pellucida. Egg can only survive for up to 24 hours after it is released, while sperm can the female reproductive tract for about 3 to 5 days. Mating a sperm with ovum in this duration can increase the chances of fertilization. In oogenesis, oogonium, that is a diploid number of chromosome, undergoes mitosis and develops into primary oocyte, which will begin the first meiotic division but then arrest. It will finish this division as it develops in the follicle, giving rise to a haploid secondary oocyte and a smaller polar body. The secondary oocyte begins the secondary meiotic division and then arrests again and will remain so unless it is fertilized by sperm. If this occurs, a mature ovum and another polar body is produced. So the answer for this question is option C. From the given four statements, statement 1, 3 and 4 are correctly given. Question number 12. Genetic variation in a population arises due to. In a population, discontinuous source of genetic variation is mutation, which occurs randomly, and continuous source of genetic variation is recombination or crossing over, which occurs during gamete formation in meiosis. So the answer for this question is option B. Mutations as well as recombinations. Question number 13. The figure shows a section of the human ovary. Select the option which gives the correct identification of A, B and C. Corpus luteum, yellow hormone secreting body in the female reproductive system that secretes progesterone, which further maintains endometrium. Graafian follicle produce a hormone called as estrogen by the follicular granulosa cells. If fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum involutes to form the corpus albicans that is filled with fibrous tissue. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given statements, four statements, first and fourth statements are correct. Question number 14. Which one of the following vector is used to replace the defective gene in gene therapy? In gene therapy, genes are inserted into a person's cells and tissues to treat a diseases. Retroviral vector is used to transfer a normal gene into an individual or embryo to take over the function of the compensate for the non-functional gene. So the answer for this question is option A, retrovirus. Question number 15. It was found that when the same environmental challenge was provided to the two sets of organisms who belongs to different ancestors and with different evolution partners evolved similar phenotypic trait to survive better is called. Natural selection is the trait that possesses heritable variation and must confer an advantage in the competition for resources is selected naturally. Adaptive radiation is an evolutionary process giving rise to new species adapted to new habitats and ways of life. Genetic drift is change in allele frequency in a population due to random selection of genes. In the concept of evolution, convergent evolution results where although the organisms that are not closely related evolve independently, having similar traits and showing adaptations to similar environment or ecological niche. So the answer is option C, convergent evolution. Question number 16. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the process of RNA interference? Here there are four statements are given. RNA interference, it is RNAi, takes place in all the eukaryotic organisms as a method of cellular defense. RNA interference is a gene silencing method where the mRNA of the parasite is destroyed. So no protein formation resulting in the death of the parasite in transgenic plant. So the answer for this question is option A. From the given 4 statements, statement 1 and 2 are correctly given regarding the process of mRNA interference. Question number 17. Given below are 4 statements from A to D, each with 1 or 2 blanks. Select the option which correctly fills up the blank. Urey and Miller experimentally proved the formation of simple organic compounds from other simple compounds under specified conditions, where they took the methane, ammonia, hydrogen mixture was taken in the ratio of 2:2:1 along with all these heated products and were passed through a condenser, which on condensation yielded aqueous and end products. Fossils can also provide evidence of evolutionary history of organisms. Such fossil can be easily isolated from sedimentary rocks. Darwin finches are classical examples of an adaptive radiation. Their common ancestor arrived on the Galapagos about 2 million years ago. As this time that has passed, the Darwin's finches have evolved into 15 recognized species differing in body size, beak shape, song and feeding behavior. So the answer for this question is option C. Statement B, that is the second one, sedimentary rocks. Statement D, 1, reproductive fitness. Question number 18. The total number of progeny obtained from a dihybrid cross is 1280 in the F2 generation. How many of them are recombinant? In the F2 generation, during dihybrid cross, normally 16 progeny will be formed. 10 of the progeny shows the parental phenotypes and the remaining 6 progeny shows new phenotypes involving recombination. Accordingly, if the F2 generation 1280 progenies are formed, 800 progeny shows partial phenotypes and 480 progenies are recombinants. So the answer for this question is option C, 480. Question number 19. The common feature that is shared by Funaria, Dryopteris and Ginkgo is: Funaria is a bryophyte in which female sex organ is Archegonia, vascular tissue is absent and main plant body is independent gametophyte. Dryopteris is a pteridophyta in which female sex organ is Archegonia, vascular tissues are developed and main plant body is independent sporophyte. Ginkgo is a gymnosperm in which female sex organ is Archegonia, well developed vascular tissues and independent sporophyte occurs. So the answer for this question is option A, presence of Archegonia. Question number 20. Read the statements given below and identify the suitable option. Here there are 3 statements are given. Homologous organs, those organs which have the same basic structure or some basic design but different functions, hence they have common ancestor or origin. Analogous organs are defined as the organs of different animals that are having different structure but perform the same function. So from the given statements, first one is false, second and third are true. So the correct option is D. Question number 21. Albuminous seeds store their reserve food mainly in. Albuminous seeds retain a part of the endosperm as it is not completely used up during embryonic development. Such seeds are also known as endospermic seeds. Food is stored in endosperm which provides nutrition to embryo during germination. Example: wheat, maize, barley and castor. So the answer is option A, endosperm. Question number 22. Rna, Himgiri and Pusa Komal are the varieties of. Some crop varieties are developed for disease resistance and better yield by the process of hybridization. Ratna, Himgiri and Pusa Komal are the varieties of rice, wheat and cowpea respectively. So the answer is option C, rice, wheat and cowpea respectively. Question number 23. Megaspores are produced from the megaspore mother cells after. The process of formation of megaspore from megaspore mother cell is called as megasporogenesis. Ovules generally differentiate single megaspore mother cell in the micropylar region. It is large cell with a prominent nucleus and dense cytoplasm. It undergoes meiotic division to form 4 megaspore, 3 of which disintegrate and only one remains functional. So the answer is option D, meiotic division. Question number 24. A temporary family planning method based on the natural effect of breastfeeding on fertility is due to the high level of progesterone is a female sex hormone. It is produced mainly in the ovaries and it helps in maintenance of pregnancy. Prolactin causes the breast to grow and make milk during pregnancy and after birth. Prolactin levels are normally high for pregnant women and new mothers. Estrogen also helps regulate the menstrual cycle, controlling the growth of uterine lining during the first part of the cycle and also control secondary sexual characters in female. Follicle stimulating hormones helps control the menstrual cycle and stimulates the growth of eggs in ovaries. So the answer for this question is option B, prolactin. Question number 25. Compensation point means when the rate of photosynthesis, that means the process of converting solar energy into chemical energy, is same as that of respiration, utilization of stored energy, it is referred to as compensation point. So the answer is option C, equal rate of photosynthesis and respiration. Question number 26. Removal of ringwood is tissue outside the vascular cambium from the tree trunk kills it because both intrafascicular and intrafascicular cambium joins together and forms a cambium ring. The periclinal division of vascular cambium ring forms secondary phloem, that is outside the vascular cambium, and a secondary xylem inner to vascular cambium. The primary phloem is crushed to death known as obliteration. Primary xylem being death and lignified replaced in pith region. Removal of ringwood outside the vascular cambium kills the trees because the phloem gets removed and the food synthesized in the leaves do not move to different parts of the plant. So the answer for this question is option B. Food does not travel down and root become starved. Question number 27. Given below are the 4 methods. It is from A to D and their modes of action is given. 1 to 4 in achieving contraception is given. Select the suitable match from the options given below. Condom is a rubber sheath which prevents pregnancy by acting as a barrier, preventing semen from entering the vagina. Tubectomy is a surgical process that blocks the fallopian tubes, thereby preventing the egg released by the ovary to meet the sperm. The copper intrauterine device, that is generally called as IUD, is a small T-shaped plastic and a copper device which constantly releases a small amount of copper into the uterus and thus prevents implantation. Hormonal method of birth control prevents eggs from being released from the ovaries, thickens cervical mucus to prevent sperm from entering the uterus, and makes lining of the uterus thin to prevent implantation. So the correctly matching option is option B. Question number 28. Which of the following is not a single flower? Sunflower belongs to Astaceae or Compositae family, is a very large and widespread family of flowering plants. Sunflower is not a single flower, instead it made up of multiple simple flowers. So the answer is option C, sunflower. Question number 29. Column 1 with column 2. Select the correct options from the codes given below. White blood cells circulate into the bloodstream, but they can cross the blood capillary to reach infected tissues. This process called as diapedesis. Adipose tissue is composed of a loose collection of specialized cells called adipocytes, which are embedded in collagen fiber. Its main function is storage of lipids. Communicating junctions are channels that allow passage of small molecules and ions between two cells. Such junctions support synchronized contraction of cardiac tissue. Neuralgia are cells that support and protect neurons. So the correct option is option C. Option C is correctly matching. Question number 30. The term glycocalyx is used for. Bacteria is surrounded by three-layered envelope. The outermost is glycocalyx, followed by cell wall and then plasma membrane. Glycocalyx is the outermost layer of the envelope. It differs in composition and thickness among different bacteria. So the answer for this question is option D, a layer surrounding the cell wall of bacteria. Question number 31. Which of the following statement is correct? Sporopollenin is present in exine of cell wall. It is one of the most resistant biological material known. It can withstand high temperatures and strong acids and alkali. No enzyme that degrades sporopollenin is so far known. Pollen grain are well preserved as fossil because of the presence of sporopollenin. So the answer for this question is option C. From the given four statements, C is correct one. Question number 32. Given below is the diagrammatic sketch of connective tissue. Identify the correct statement relation to it. Bone matrix is a composite material consisting of organic and inorganic components. The organic matrix makes up to 20% of weight of bone, and it is comprised primarily of collagen. The presence of more amount of inorganic salts in the matrix of bone makes it non-flexible. So from the given four statements, the correct option is option D. First, third and fourth statements are correct. Question number 33. In mango and coconut, the fruit is known as drupe. They develop from the monocarpellary superior ovary and are one-seeded. Identify the edible part of these two fruits. In mango, the edible part is mesocarp, which forms the fleshy and juicy part. In coconut, mesocarp becomes fibrous and the edible part is the endosperm, which is liquid initially but later on maturity becomes solid and cellular. So the answer is option C, mesocarp and endosperm respectively. Question number 34. Which statement is wrong? Partial pressure of oxygen in the atmospheric air is 158 mm of Hg and that of carbon dioxide is 0.3 mm of Hg. Partial pressure of oxygen, that is PO2, in alveolar air is 100 mm Hg and it is only 40 mm Hg in atrial capillaries of the lungs. Therefore, oxygen from the alveolar air rapidly diffuses due to its higher PO2 into the blood capillaries. Hence, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, that is PCO2, is lower in the air inside the lungs? So the answer for this question is option A. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in the air inside the lungs. That is wrong statement. Question number 35. Syngamy can occur outside the body of the organism in fusion of male and female gamete is called as syngamy. External fertilization is present in lower plants and occur in water. It occurs in algae where both male and female gametes are released in water where they come in contact and undergoes syngamy. So the answer for this question is option B, algae. Question number 36. Sectional view of alveoli with a pulmonary capillary is shown below. Identify the right match in context to the options given below. Basement membrane. The basement membrane is a sheet of proteins and other substances to which epithelial cells adhere and that form a barrier between tissues. Squamous epithelium. Alveoli is lined by a simple squamous epithelium which is thin and facilitate the process of diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Endothelial cells form a one-cell thick-walled layer called endothelium that lines all of blood vessels. So the answer for this question is option A. Basement membrane, endothelium. Question number 37. In which one of the following sets of 3 items each belong to the category mentioned against them? Renin, helicase and hyaluronidase all are enzymes. Thiamine is not an amino acid. Myosin not a hormone. Oculomotor is a motor and vagus is an mixed nerve. So the answer for this question is option C. Renin, helicase and hyaluronidase enzymes. Question number 38. Dash leads to accumulation of dark colored amorphous substance called dash that is highly resistant to microbial action and undergoes decomposition at an extremely slow rate. Humification leads to accumulation of a dark colored amorphous substance called humus that is highly resistant to microbial action and undergoes decomposition at an extremely slow rate. Being colloidal in nature, it serves as a reservoir of nutrients. The humus is further degraded by some microbes and release of inorganic nutrients occur by the process known as mineralization. So the answer is option A. Humification. Second dash is filling with humus. Question number 39. Gonadotropic releasing hormone, a hypothalamic hormone needed in reproduction, acts on. Hypothalamus secrete gonadotropin releasing hormone which stimulates anterior pituitary gland for the secretion of gonadotropins, follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. Gonadotropin releasing hormone is responsible for the release of follicle stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone from the anterior pituitary. Gonadotropin releasing hormone is tropic, that is peptide hormone synthesized and released from gonadotropin releasing hormone neurons within the hypothalamus. So the answer is option B. Anterior pituitary gland and stimulates secretion of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. Question number 40. Read the following statements with respect to dicot stem and select the right choice. Here there are 4 statements are given. In the dicot stem, the epidermis is covered with a thin layer of cuticle with few trichomes except for option 1 All other options are characteristics of dicot stem. So the correct option for this question is option D. Second, third and fourth are correctly given. First one is wrong. Question number 41. The need of calcium in human body can be fulfilled by either absorption of calcium from the digested food or by reabsorption of calcium from renal tubules, which is accompanied by thymosin is produced by the thymus gland and trigger the creation of T cells, which are used by the immune system to fight disease. Mineralocorticoids are a class of steroid hormone that regulate salt and water balance and also help in promoting sodium and potassium transport. Thyrocalcitonin reduces the blood calcium level by increasing the absorption of calcium in the bone and reducing the absorption of calcium in the kidney and the intestine. So the answer for this question is option A, PTH. Question number 42. Which organization publishes the Red Data Book? International Union of Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, with its headquarters at Morges, Switzerland, publishes Red Data Book, which keep the record of extinct and threatened species. So the answer is option A, IUCN. Question number 43. Select the answer which correctly matches the endocrine gland or cells with the hormone it secretes, the functions associated with it. Beta cells of pancreas secrete insulin, absence of which results in diabetes mellitus. Adrenal medulla secrete epinephrine, which helps body to deal with any emergency situation. Intermediate lobe of pituitary gland secrete melatonin stimulating hormone that controls pigmentation. So the correctly matching option is option B. See the option B, endocrine gland cells, hormone, and their function is given correctly. Question number 44. Dash many move across the membrane by the process of simple diffusion along the concentration gradient from higher concentration to lower concentration. Cell membrane is selectively permeable to some molecules on either side. Hydrophobic lipids does not allow movement of water and charged ions across the membrane. Many molecules can move across the membrane by the process of simple diffusion along the concentration gradient. So the answer is option C, neutral solutes. Question number 45. Saddle joint is present between dash and hinge joint is present between dash. Saddle joint is a synovial joint where one of the bone forming the joint is shaped like a saddle with other bone resting on it like a rider on a horse. Example, carpometacarpal joint of the thumb. Hinge joint is a joint between two bones such that it allows movement along one axis only. For example, ankle, elbow, knee and interphalangeal joints. Pivot joint is found between radius and ulna. Ball and socket joint is found in shoulder. Gliding joints are found in wrist bones. So the answer for this question is option A. Saddle joint is present between carpals and metacarpals of thumb. Hinge joint is present between knee joint. Question number 46. Which of the following statement is incorrect? Number of mitochondria depends on the metabolic activity and function performed by the cell. Cell with more metabolic activity has more number of mitochondria. Maximum mitochondria are present in flight muscles cells of the birds. So the answer for this question is option A. The number of mitochondria in a cell do not correspond to the function of cell. The statement is incorrect. Question number 47. Read the following statements in context to muscle tissue and choose the correct answer. Excessive exercise results in anaerobic respiration and forms lactic acid, which is responsible for muscle cramps. The sliding filament theory is the explanation for how muscles contract to produce force. The reaction created from the arrival of an impulse stimulates the heads on the myosin filament to reach forward, attach to the actin filament, and pull actin towards the center of the sarcomere. This process occurs simultaneously in all sarcomeres. The end process of which is a shortening of all sarcomeres. Skeletal muscles are closely associated with the skeletal components of the body, and these muscles, when viewed under microscope, shows striations and are therefore called as striated muscles. So the answer for this question is option D. From the given statements, first, second and third are correctly given. Question number 48. Which one of the following cellular part is correctly described? Thylakoids are the flattened sac-like membranes that are stacked on top of one another to form the grana of plant chloroplast. Chlorophyll and other photosynthetic pigments are situated in the thylakoid membranes, which are site for the light reaction of photosynthesis. So the answer for this question is option C. Thylakoids, flattened membranous sacs forming the grana of chloroplast. So that is correctly described. Question number 49. Match the following, column 1 with column 2. Appendicular skeleton is composed of 30 bones while axial skeleton consists of 26 bones. F actins helically owned each other and is a polymer of monomeric G actins. The coxal bone, it includes hip bone. Pelvic bone is a large flattened irregularly shaped bone and is composed of ilium, the ischium and pubis. In vertebrate anatomy, ribs are the long curved bones which form the rib cage. Part of the axial skeleton are headed on both ends and hence they are called bicephalic. Arthritis is a swelling and tenderness of one or more joints. The main symptoms of arthritis are joint pain and stiffness. Spasms of skeletal muscles are most common and are often due to overuse and muscle fatigue. So the answer for this question is option C. C is correctly matching. Question number 50. Given Heidi's pedigree chart of a family with 5 children, it shows the inheritance of attached earlobes as opposed to the free ones. Which one of the following conclusions drawn is correct? In pedigree analysis, if parents appears normal and some of its progeny are sufferer, then the disorder is autosomal recessive and the parents are heterozygous. Heterozygous parents transfer disease to some of its progeny. So the answer for this question is option B. The parents are heterozygous. Question number 51. Given below is a ECG of normal human. Identify the right match of wave and its associated electrical activity. P wave represent depolarization of atria, contraction of atrial muscles which will distribute blood to ventricles. QRS complex represent depolarization of ventricles to distribute blood. T wave represent repolarization of ventricles. For example, relaxation of ventricles. So the answer for this question is option B. P wave depolarization of atria. Question number 52. Match the following. Column 1 with column 2. Choose the correct option. Class Paeophyceae comprising the brown algae. Example species are Ectocarpus, Laminaria. Class Rhodophyceae comprising of red algae. Example species are Polycyponia, Gracilaria. Division Pteridophytes comprising of ferns. Examples Equisetum, Teres. Division Bryophyta comprising the liverworts, hornworts and mosses. Examples are Funaria, Sphagnum. So the correctly matching option is option C. Question number 53. Identify the correct sequence of the cardiac cycle. Here there are 4 sequences are given. Blood through pulmonary vein and vena cava enters in left and right atria respectively, and then atrial systole begins due to stimulation of provided by sinoatrial node. Impulses from SA node will then be transferred to AV node, which will bring about contraction of ventricular muscles, which finally pushes blood away from heart. So the correct sequence is option B. Question number 54. Which of the following represent a diploid structure? In moss, the main plant body is haploid gametophyte, and after sexual reproduction, it produces diploid sporophyte, which consists of foot, setae, and capsule. Capsule consists of diploid sporogenous tissue, which undergoes meiosis to form haploid spores. So the answer is option A, sporophyte and capsule of moss. Question number 55. Which one of the following statement is incorrect? Almost 80% of flatworms are parasitic in nature, while few are free-living platyhelminthes. The free-living forms are scavengers or predators. The parasitic species feed on the tissue of the host organism in which they live. Hooks and suckers are present in parasitic forms. Coelenterata exhibit 2 forms of sessile polyforms and swimming medusa forms. They have a well-developed circulatory and digestive system. Body contains hemoglobin, which gives them a red color. So the answer for this question is option D, spiny skin, closed circulatory system and developed sense organs are present in echinodermata. The statement is incorrectly given. Question number 56. Select the incorrect statement from the following. Diatoms are marine or freshwater unicellular organisms which have cell walls. It is generally called as frustals, composed of pectin impregnated with silica and consisting of 2 walls, one overlapping the other. The siliceous frustals of atoms do not decay easily, and siliceous frustals of dead diatoms gets preserved, forming diatomaceous earth. So the answer for this question is option D. The walls of diatoms are easily destructible. So that is the incorrect statement. Question number 57. Select the incorrect statement from the following. Morels and truffles are ascomyces fungi with edible ascocarp, which is generally subterranean. Yeast is a unicellular fungi which is commonly used in fermentation to produce alcoholic beverages. Penicillium is multicellular ascomyces fungi from which first antibiotic penicillium was isolated. Protista includes all unicellular eukaryotic organisms. So the answer for this question is option A. Morels and truffles are poisonous mushrooms. That is incorrect statement. Question number 58. Phylums and related characteristics are given below. Choose the appropriate option which fills the blank spaces. The excretory organs of arthropoda are nephridia, coxal gland, green gland, Malpighian tubules with open circulatory system. They respire by the help of tracheal book lungs. Mollusks also have well-developed excretory system using tubular nephridia, organized kidneys. They respire by the help of gills, which are also called as Ctenidia. Amphibia possesses two kidneys located dorsally in the body cavity, which helps in excretion of waste. They have tails, gills for respiration in larval stage, while lungs in adult stage. So the answer for this question is option D. Malpighian tubules, mollusca, kidney and lung. Question number 59. The correct floral formula of soya bean is: the family Fabaceae is perigynous or hypogynous. They have monocarpellary gynecium with unilocular superior ovary and have marginal placentation. So the correct option is option C. Zygomorphic flowers is calyx consists of 5 sepals united. Corolla consists of 5 petals, that is arranged in 1 plus 2 plus 2. Androecium 9 plus 1, 9 fused and 1 free. Gynecium unilocular. Question number 60. The tough protective layer of brain is dash and inner highly vascularized protective layer is: the dura mater is the outermost layer lying directly underneath the bones of the skull. It is thick, tough and inextensible. The arachnoid matter is the middle layer of the meninges lying directly underneath the dura mater. It consists of layers of connective tissue and it is avascular. The pia mater is located underneath the subarachnoid space. It is very thin and tightly adhered to the surface of the brain and spinal cord. So the answer for this question is option B. The tough protective layer of the brain is dura mater and inner highly vascularized protective layer is pia mater. 61. Micropyle of the seed is involved in the passage of. The micropyle is a small opening present in the ovule. In ovule, it helps the entry of pollen tube. The micropyle of seed is involved in the passage of water. Micropyle plays a very important role in absorbing water during the time of germination. So the answer for this question is option C, water. Question number 62. Polysomes are aggregates of. Polyribosomes are aggregates of several ribosomes held together by string of mRNA. Polyribosomes consist of 4 to 8 ribosomes which are attached to single strand of messenger RNA or mRNA. This mechanism helps in the synthesis of several copies of the same protein. So the answer for this question is option D. Several ribosomes held together by string of mRNA. Question number 63. Which of the following is the simplest amino acid? Glycine is considered as the simplest amino acid as it has one amino group, one carboxylic group, one hydrogen and another hydrogen in place of R group. It has no subsequent functional group. It is also not an alpha amino acid. So the answer is option C, glycine. Question number 64. The inner layer of the eye is dash, which contains layer of cells from inside to outside in an order. Being part of the retina, bipolar cells exist between photoreceptors and ganglion cells. They act directly or indirectly to transmit signals from the photoreceptors to the ganglion cells. A radial section of the retina reveals the ganglion cells. That means the output neurons of the retina lie innermost in the retina closest to the lens, and the photosensors, the rods and cones, lie outermost. The cornea is the transparent part of the eye that covers the front portion of the eye. So the answer for this question is option A. The inner layer of the eye is retina, which contains layer of cells from inside to outside in order: ganglion cells, bipolar cells, photoreceptor cells. Question number 65. The cofactor is a part of the holoenzyme, and it is: the conjugate enzyme consists of protein part called as apoenzyme and non-protein part called cofactor. If the cofactor is tightly attached to apoenzyme, then it is called as a prosthetic group. If the cofactor is loosely attached organic part, then it is called as coenzyme. So the answer for this question is option C. Axillary non-protein substance attached firmly to protein part of the holoenzyme. Question number 66. The deficiency of micronutrients not only affects the growth of plants but also vital functions such as photosynthetic and mitochondrial electron flow. Among the list given below, which group of three elements shall affect most both photosynthetic and mitochondrial electron transport? Iron is mainly available in the ferrous form, and it is absorbed in the ferric form also. It plays a role in the electron transport system in photosynthesis. Manganese is absorbed by the plants when it is in bivalent form. Manganese participates in the photolysis of water in pigment system too during photosynthesis, and thus it helps in the electron transport from water to chlorophyll. Copper is absorbed on the clay particles as divalent cations. It is a constituent of plastocyanin, which takes part in electron transport during photosynthetic phosphorylation. So the answer for this question is option D. Copper, manganese and ferrous. Question number 67. The correct sequence of cell organelle involved in photorespiration is: photorespiration is a light dependent process. Oxidation of ribulose biphosphate and release of carbon dioxide by the photosynthetic organs of plant. It leads to oxidation of a considerable amount of photosynthetic products to carbon dioxide and H2O without the production of useful energy. Photorespiration occurs only in C3 plants because at high temperature and high oxygen concentration, RUBP carboxylase changes to RUBP oxygenase. So the answer for this question is option C. It takes place in chloroplast, peroxisome and mitochondria. Question number 68. The carbon dioxide acceptor in the Calvin cycle is: in the Calvin cycle, initial carbon dioxide is accepted by ribulose 1,5-diphosphate, that is RUBP, already present in the cells, and a 6-carbon addition compound is formed, which is unstable. It soon gets converted into 2 molecules of 3-carbon compound phosphoglyceric acid due to hydrolysis. So the answer for this question is option B, ribulose 1,5-diphosphate. Question number 69. There are 2 statements are given. Statement 1: glycolysis is the first step of respiration in which glucose completely break down into carbon dioxide and H2O. The statement 2: in this process there is a net gain of 24 molecules of ATP. From the given 2 statements, both the statement 1 and the statement 2 both are incorrectly given. So the Correct option for this question is option D. Question number 70. Respiratory quotient, the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide released to volume of oxygen absorbed in the respiratory process is termed as respiratory ratio or respiratory quotient. The value of respiratory quotient varies from one respiratory substrate to another. For example, carbohydrate is 1, lipids and proteins are less than 1, that of organic acid is greater than 1. So the answer for this question is option B. During respiratory quotient, carbon dioxide is produced and oxygen is consumed. Question number 71. Hormone involved in the metabolism of food material in cereal grain during germination is gibberellin is a class of plant growth regulator. This hormone was discovered from the fungus Gibberella fusarium, whose perfect stage was assigned to Fusarium moniliforme. This fungus causes Bacone disease or Bacon foolish seedling disease of rice. This causes rice plants to grow unusually taller, spindle-shaped, pale green in color, and production of rice much lesser. Chemically, gibberellin is Gibbon ring containing complex chemical with vivid biological activities in plants. There are more than 30 gibberellins known so far. They all are acidic in nature and are called gibberellic acid. So the answer for this question is option B, gibberellins. Question number 72. Which of the following statement is correct? A microsporangium is generally surrounded by 4 wall layers: the epidermis, endothelium, middle layer, and the tapetum. The outer 3 wall layers perform the function of protection and help in dehiscence of anther to release the pollen. The innermost wall layer is the tapetum. It nourishes the developing pollen grains. Cells of the tapetum are food rich and possesses dense cytoplasm and generally have more than one nucleus. So the answer is option B. Tapetum nourishes the developing pollen. Question number 73. Wind pollinated flowers are. Pollination by wind is called as anemopily, and such plants in which pollination occurs by wind are called as anemopilous plants. Anemopilous plants are characterized by small flowers, pollen present in large number, which are small, dry, and light in weight. Number of ovules generally reduced in ovary, feathery or brushy stigma. Grasses and palms are generally anemopilous. The answer is option B. Small, producing a large number of dry pollen grains, feathery stigma. Question number 74. Unisexuality of flowers prevents. Unisexuality or dicliny is a condition in which 2 types of unisexual flowers are present. Staminate, that means male flower, and pistillate, female flower. The plant may be monoecious or dioecious. This is a device for cross pollination or xenogamy. Both xenogamy and gaetogamy transfer of pollen from anther to stigma, one flower to that another flower, either same or genetically similar plant. Autogamy or self-pollination. Here, transfer of pollen from anther to stigma of same flower occurs in bisexual flowers. So the answer is option C. Autogamy but not gaetogamy. Question number 75. Gauss principle of competitive exclusion states that 2 or more species with closely similar niche requirements cannot exist indefinitely in the same area as sooner or later they come into competition for possession of it. This is called as Gauss competitive exclusion principle, which states that an ecological niche cannot be simultaneously and completely occupied by established populations of more than one species? So the answer is option A. No two species can occupy the same niche indefinitely for same time if resources are limiting. Question number 76. Which kind of population interaction is found between organisms showing pseudocopulation? The Mediterranean orchid Opris employs sexual deceit to get pollination done by species of bee. One petal of its flower bear an uncanny resemblance to the female of the bee in size, color, and markings. The male bee perceives it as female and dusted with pollen from the flower during the process of pseudocopulation. When same bee pseudocopulates with another flower, it transfers pollen to it and thus pollinates the flower. Thus, best cheater plant is Opris. The significance of co-evolution process can be understood here. If female bee changes its color pattern ever slightly, the success of pollination will be reduced unless orchid flowers co-evolves to maintain the resemblance of its petals to female bee. So the answer is option D, co-evolution. Question number 77. Which of the following pass is a gaseous type of biochemical cycle? Biochemical cycles are two types, gaseous and sedimentary. In gaseous nutrient cycle, the materials involved in circulation between biotic and abiotic components of biosphere are gases or vapors and reservoir. Pool is atmosphere or hydrosphere, example carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, water. In sedimentary nutrient cycles, materials involved in circulation between biotic and abiotic components of biosphere are non-gaseous and the reservoir pool is lithosphere. Example, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, sulfur as both sedimentary and gaseous nutrient cycle. So the answer is option C, oxygen and nitrogen. Question number 78. The food chain in which microbe split energy-rich compounds of the producer community. Detritus food chain starts from dead organic matter acted upon by decomposers, which in turns are eaten by detritivores consumers, which are eaten by top consumers. So the answer is option B, detritus food chain. Question number 79. Biodiversity of a geographical region represents. Biodiversity, it is service called as biological diversity, is the existence of a wide variety of species. It is called as species diversity or other types of plants, animals and microorganisms in a natural community or habitat or communities within a particular environment called as ecological diversity, or genetic variation within a species called as genetic diversity. So the answer is option B, the diversity in the organism living in the region. Question number 80. Viable material of endangered species can be preserved by. Viable material of endangered species can be preserved by the gene bank. Gene bank is an institute that maintains stocks of viable seeds. It is generally called as seed banks. Live growing, that is live growing plants such as orchids, tissue culture and frozen germplasm with the whole range of genetic variability. So answer is option A, gene bank. Question number 81. Particulate matters in air can be removed most efficiently by the use of. The most widely used of which is the electrostatic precipitator, which can remove over 99% particulate matter present in the exhaust from thermal power plant. It has electrode wires that are maintained at several thousand volts, which produce a corona that release electrons. These electrons attach to dust particles, giving them a net negative charge. The collecting plates are grounded and attract the charged dust particles. The velocity of air between the plates must be low enough to allow the dust to fall. Answer is option C. Electrostatic precipitators. Question number 82. The TA plasmid is often used for making transgenic plants. The plasmid is found in TA plasmid is generally called as tumor-inducing plasmid, is isolated from the soil bacterium Agrobacterium tumefaciens, is effectively used as a vector for gene transfer to plant cells. The part of TA plasmid transferred into plant cells DNA is called as tDNA. This tDNA with desired DNA spliced into it is inserted into the chromosomes of the host plant, where it produces copies of itself by migrating from one chromosomal position to another in random. So the answer is option C. Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Question number 83. The A provides the template, B brings amino acid and reads the genetic code, and C plays structural and catalytic role during translation. In transcription, the template stand is what is used as a template in the synthesis of mRNA. In translation, a mature mRNA stand is translated in the 5'3" direction by a ribosome to produce a polypeptide chain reading frames in 3 to 5 direction on the mRNA stand may be disregarded during translation. The linkage of an amino acid to a tRNA is crucial for two reasons. First, the attachment of given amino acid to a particular tRNA establishes the genetic code. When an amino acid has been linked to a tRNA, it will be incorporated into growing polypeptide chain at a position dictated by the anticodon of the tRNA. Second, the formation of a peptide bond between free amino acid is not thermodynamically favorable. The amino acid must first be activated for protein synthesis to proceed. A ribosome is a complex macromolecule composed of structural and catalytic RNAs, ribosomal RNAs, and many distinct polypeptides. In eukaryotes, the synthesis and assembly of ribosomal RNAs occurs in the nucleolus. So the answer for this question is option C. First one, A, that is mRNA provides the template. B, tRNA amino acids and reads the genetic code. C, ribosomal RNA plays a structural and catalytic role during translation. Question number 84. Select the correct statement regarding Ogasagi fragments formed during DNA replication. During DNA replication, short fragments of DNA which are produced on lagging strand are called as Ogasagi fragments. These are formed as replication occurs in 5 to 3 direction. These fragments are later joined by enzyme DNA ligase. So the answer is option A. They are the short DNA fragments on lagging strand. Question number 85. In the Avery, MacLeod and McCarthy experiment, which of the following enzyme did not affect the process of transformation? Prior to work of Oswald Avery, Colin MacLeod and Macklin McCarthy from 1933 to 44, the genetic material was thought to be a protein. They worked to determine the biochemical nature of transforming principle in Gribb's experiment. They purified biochemicals such as proteins, DNA, RNA, etc. from the heat-killed A cells to see which one could transform is live R cells into S cells. They discovered that DNA alone from S cells bacteria caused or bacteria to become transformed. They also discovered that protein digesting enzyme proteases and RNA digesting enzyme RNases did not affect transformation. So the transforming substance was not a protein or RNA. Digestion with DNAs did not inhibit transformation, suggesting that the DNA caused the transformation. They concluded that DNA is the hereditary material, but not all biologists were convinced. So the answer is option D. Answer both A and B. Question number 86. The mutation is the phenomena which results in alteration of DNA sequences and consequently results in a change in the mutation, chemical nature of genetic material which results in alteration of DNA sequences gets altered. As a result, the phenotype of individual may get changed. So the answer is option C, can be both genotype and phenotype. Question number 87. A couple having 5 daughters only is expecting 6th progeny. The chance of the progeny being a son is, a family of 5 daughters only is expecting 6th issue. The chance of its being a son is 50%. Human have 22 pairs of autosome and a pair of 6 chromosome, which are XX in females and XY in males. So if we cross the parents, there is 1:1 chance for boy and girl. So the answer is option C. It's 50%. Question number 88. Which one of the following conditions correctly describes the sex determination mechanism? So the answer is option B. X0 type of sex chromosome, that is XO type of sex chromosome determine male sex in grasshopper. Question number 89. Statements are given. Statement A. Typhoid Mary was a health worker. Statement B. Haemophilus influenzae does not cause influenza. A classic case of typhoid Mary Mallon, that is nicknamed Typhoid Mary. She, cook by profession, was a typhoid carrier and she continued to spread typhoid for many years through the food she prepared. Streptococcus pneumoniae and Haemophilus influenza cause pneumonia, while influenza is caused by influenza virus. So the answer is option B. From the given 2 statements, only statement B is correct. Last question, question number 90. Correct statement. Here there are 4 statements are given. Hypothalamus lies at the base of the thalamus. Functions of hypothalamus. It is a center for body temperature, urge for eating and drinking. It possesses several groups of neurosecretory cells which secrete hormone called hypothalamic hormones. Hypothalamus and inner parts of cerebral hemispheres along with a group of associated deep structures like amygdala, hippocampus, etc. form a complex structure that is called as limbic lobe or limbic system. Limbic system is involved in the regulation of sexual behavior, expression of emotional reactions, example pleasure, rage, excitement and fear, and motivation. So the answer for this question is option B. Hypothalamus forms the basal part of diencephalon.
லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.